It's Load Bearing Beams. We're here with our friend Cinema Coconut. And as you all know, we put it out to everybody out there in the world. If you have romantic problems, we have advice for you. Laci.
If you specifically need it solved before Christmas, because we understand like that, after Christmas, everyone's depressed. You don't need a relationship then, but you need someone to hug and kiss on Christmas. So
the most lovey of days.
I would say.
Yeah,
yes.
But first, Cinema Coconut, welcome to our show.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to dive into this path here of, forbidden love, of long-term love, of new love.
Yes.
So many avenues to explore, it seems like.
It's important work. I think we have the right team here to do it.
You are a world-renowned advice columnist to the stars, as we all know. So this is good because these are rich people problems, I will say.
Should we just get into it?
Let's just dive in. Christmas is getting closer by the minute.
All right. This first question is titled, Help, my new hubby's best friend is a grade A creepazoid. The letter says, I am in my late teens and just recently married the perfect man. He's kind, funny, and caring, and his career prospects are sky high. We have an exceptional relationship. We like the same kinds of ice cream and stores. Ooh. And what can I say? We have a lot of fun together. My otherwise exceptional life has just one problem. My new husband's best friend, his best man at our wedding, has a bit of an issue with me. My husband denies it, but this friend, let's call him Jeff, has always been rude to me. I've made many efforts to get to know him better, but he has repeatedly rebuffed my overtures. I assumed it was because he didn't like me, and I endeavored to win him over with my many charms. But the story took an unexpected turn when I saw a video he edited together of footage from our wedding. The footage is almost exclusively of me, in intense close-up. To make a long story short, he films me like Quentin Tarantino films feet.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
When I confronted Jeff about his unhealthy sexual preoccupation with me, he demurred. I'm afraid to tell my husband because I don't want to affect an old and dear friendship. Should I tell my husband about Jeff's video? Should I confront Jeff? Or should I just keep my mouth shut and try to move forward? Signed, Worried in Westminster. Signed, Worried in Westminster.
What a funny little mix-up you had over there, knowing things about England, Matt. I don't know anything about this woman, but I can tell she's got a teethy grin just by the way she writes. Just a lot of tears. So happy you came to our wedding.
I don't know what it is about the letter, but I was picking up on that as well.
Just a lot of teeth and chin. What do you think, Coconut? Do you have?
Ooh,
is this your area? Well, I mean, this is a sticky one.
Yeah, I can't say putting myself in her hubby's shoes. Okay. I have a wife. I can't say that I have any creepy friends per se
that you know of.
Don't tend to that I know of. Right. I would hope that my wife would talk to me about it instead of trying to go around me. Mm-hmm. So, that took a bit of a turn. So he was rude,
right,
for quite a while since she first met him, and then this bomb dropped that he was just intimately recording her, and close up on her wedding day.
And she's taking it as sexual too. So deciding intense close up of her in a wedding dress, sexual, and that's an interesting jump.
I'd have to see the footage. I mean, they're very sensual filmmakers out there. I mean, is he like an Anthony Lynn type? Can you just is the camera just oozing sexuality? I wish they had enclosed the footage, but
the footage. Is that a Quentin Tarantino joke?
I was going to say that. I mean, she did pull that reference.
She did. So
we know how Quentin Tarantino films feet.
Lovingly and for awkwardly long.
And healthily.
I think what matters is that she feels it is sexual. So I guess it doesn't really matter. We don't really need to guess. What matters is that she thinks it's that. And she's deciding whether to tell her brand new husband or just don't. I mean, does anyone have any strong feelings?
I mean, my initial strong feeling is like, yeah, you should absolutely tell your husband. That's the point of being married, having a close romantic partnership. It is a partnership, isn't it, folks? But yeah, this seems like a perfect example of something you're going to have to, things like this will come up over and over and over again throughout the time you know each other. And,
will they?
Well, having to present uncomfortable information to your partner.
I mean, your best man, though. Someone that you think you know.
Okay, but presumably you're going to continue interacting with him. If they're best friends,
right.
There will be get-togethers, dinners.
Well, and I would think that your husband who you love deserves to have a best friend that has his best interest at heart. And this man clearly does not. I mean, can you help it if you fall this infatuated with the person your best friend married? I don't know. Ethically, what does the best friend owe his best friend?
I think what's really a big red flag was the fact that these signs of Jeff, like having this feeling towards her, weren't present until after they got married. You know, I'm sure there's a conversation that could have been brought up prior to, but I mean, now that they're together, this is released. And like Matt said, throughout a marriage, a lot of things will come to the surface, a lot of issues, whether they be at the husband and wife's fault or not. But I mean, this is a good first one to kind of tackle, I think, because again, like you guys said, he will be a part of more celebrations, I'm sure, as time goes on. And I feel like it may get worse if it's not addressed.
Right. And the bottom line is, do you want to be a wife that gets ahead of this or that's playing catch up when this inevitably gets out? And or just one more drunken bachelor party with male strippers or whatever that joke was away from him saying it.
If we had to speak to Jeff, what would we say to him? What's your route forward?
Well, Jeff, if you had no real relationship with her because out of self-preservation, let's say you were keeping your distance because she's so smoking hot that you knew you would fall deeper in love with her. What are you in love with? Please tell me. You don't know her at all. So what is it about this situation that has clicked for you that this is the one for you, even though you know nothing about this person? He needs therapy.
Yeah.
I think therapy.
That'd be a good start.
It's a boring answer, but yes, therapy. Hey, buddy, you're going to have to learn to work on this, process it, and then move on with your life.
And if she all of a sudden became available, would you still be interested? I think he needs to explore, is the attraction that he cannot ever have her? Because there's gangly, hot, teethy angels in England everywhere, I would assume. I mean, I'll bet he's got poster boards full of them, honestly. That he shows her later in the snow.
It could be a matter of like jealousy. I know it sounds very like high school and like elementary, but like, you know, when your best friend gets a chick and you don't, you're like, oh, nuts. Well, I mean, she's already kind of like into him, so maybe she'd be into me. Maybe I should try to pursue this. And that's not normal. You know, not addressing Jeff personally, I would address her. So recently I have been getting into some true crime and hear me out.
Oh my.
So,
are we going baby reindeer with this? What are we doing?
Hear me out.
Okay.
So one thing that these true crime docs and, you know, podcasts will talk about are what were the signs? Like, how could we have seen this coming? How could he have taken this turn? Sweetheart, I think this may be one of those signs. The fact that he did it secretively, and what was he going to do when his best friend asked him for the video?
You had your camera out clearly the whole time.
Yeah, so there's not a lot of thought process in here. Him being
Compulsive.
rude 1 minute and then just infatuated by her. Maybe there's some compartmentalization going on. I don't know. These are just terms I heard on a documentary.
Those are good.
I'm no expert.
But whatever it is, though, he's doing them out in the open. I mean, Laura Linney, I assume, noticed at the wedding. Sorry, I'm breaking the fourth wall. What? I'm saying that it sounds like both him and her have noticed that there's a weird thing between the two of them. Once he realizes it was like just hardcore, I need to fuck her so bad. I don't know. I'm just saying I guess what I'm saying is he's not being very like subtle.
Well, I think that
he's being dangerous.
That makes it all the more imperative that worried in Westminster tell her husband, because there's probably a good chance it's not going to be a surprise to him. He knew it was there all along, even if he was in denial about it.
And he's playing with fire. I would guess that this is going to increase. I mean, he had the brassness to be so obvious behind a camera on his wedding day. And I could see this escalating to, I don't know, showing up at their door one day, maybe with a lot of cardboard signs. I'm just saying he's going to keep putting her in situations.
He doesn't sound like an absolute psychopath, Laci.
Oh, you're right. And that wouldn't deserve a kiss. So
No, yeah, the last thing she would want to do is give him
Play
any
into
sort
it.
of sign
Yeah.
that, yes, play into it.
Reward.
Any sort of affection, touch, hug, nothing more.
Nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
because-
especially not a kiss.
Don't in
Don't
the
kiss
snow
a kid.
near
Oh.
near Christmas. No, ma'am.
Well, because, you're probably thinking like, no, he just needs to know. He needs to get the kiss, and that will be a fond farewell, and then he can move on with his life. That's what you think. But no, he's actually going to be like, ooh,
I
okay,
knew it.
there's a chance.
Here's a wait and see.
Yes,
Let's give him heart
right.
attack
False
pills.
All right, I think we've really nailed this one, and now we're ready to move on to our next letter. And this letter is titled "Help. My employee won't make a move on her coworker, even though
no.
everyone in the office thinks she should."
Including my wife.
The person, the letter writer, says this: "I've been the managing director for a premium advertising agency in the heart of London for more than a decade now. My career is stimulating, challenging, and rewarding, and I'm handsomely paid, and my company recognizes the good work I have done and will continue to do.
Oh.
The only problem is I have these employees who won't fuck each other.
Oh no.
There's a very
It's Christmas. Sorry.
There's a very talented graphic designer, let's call her Laura, who has a not so secret crush, some would say obsession, with our creative director, who we'll call Clint. Everyone in the office is aware of Laura's feelings for Clint, including Clint. I have no doubt that Clint would welcome the chance to get to know Laura better, and that both would find their prospects together extremely promising, if you know what I mean. In parentheses, they'd have lots of sex.
Right.
But Laura just won't take the plunge. What should I do?
As the boss.
Should I tell Laura that everyone knows she's always writing Clint's name on pieces of paper, drawing hearts and arrows all around it?
Right.
Should I nudge her to make her move? Or is this none of my business?
Nah.
Help. Signed, Lustful in London.
Lustful in London. That's an odd. He's busy though, right? And well paid and admired in his field.
Doesn't sound like the job's that stimulating if you're
Not so stimulating.
focusing on this part a lot.
Right.
A lot of downtime for the employees too, for photocopying their ass, drawing hearts, whatever it is that you just said. What do you think, Jay? What do you think?
Well, two letters come to mind.
Ooh.
HR.
Okay.
And I think that's where this is going to come down to. If they're at a premium advertising agency and he continues to try to make this happen, first of all, I'm just going to be blunt with him. I think he should stay out of it. You know, there are a lot of romances and like long-term relationships that have happened and sparked at a work.
You're looking at one.
So just from personal experience, so get this. I worked at a Buffalo Wild Wings for 7 years. It may not be the exact spitting image, same thing as a premium advertising agency, but I worked in the kitchen.
Premium wings. Mhm.
And premium wings Tuesdays. And I saw a lot of relationships happening within either the kitchen, the servers, the cashiers, people dipping into other ecosystems,
Right.
you know, and it's awkward because if it doesn't work out, then you got to go to work the next day and they're there. And I was unscathed. I did not have any relationships during that process, but looking from the outside in,
Mhm.
I saw the effect that it had on people. But going back to the long-term relationships that did work out from work, I don't know any great ones that started with, yeah, our manager was really putting us together, like forcing us to be together. And now look at
Really?
us all these years later. Yeah.
That's never happened?
Big Daddy Papa manager that's not doing enough of the work, and we're working our fucking asses off. In fact, he's constantly giving me shit for taking personal calls.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I have so much sympathy for the workers of the world, and in fact, in our modern world, Laci and Jay, especially for adults, there's no real place to actually socialize and make connections with friends. It's kind of just work. That's really one of the only places you can actually form connections with people, and romance can possibly bloom. So I have sympathy for people who want to get into relationships with their coworkers. That being said, I believe once
Then
you
you do.
once you become the manager, you are no longer of the people. You are
Exactly.
in the hierarchy. You now have you have power and as such responsibility, meaning you need to stay out of it. Now, one time, my dad took me to a water park when I was
Where
10
is
years
this
old.
going?
And I was very scared to go down this very big slide called the plunge. The plunge is one of those slides that just drops you down
Aptly
almost
named.
at a 90-degree angle. And I was so scared, and my dad just pushed me. Just pushed me down the slide. Something my dad would. It's so unlike my dad to do
You know
things
you're
like
not
this.
supposed to push down a slide like that, right? You need the actual pull of your body to keep you on the. He could have killed you, Matt.
It was a situation where the lifeguard's like, go, just go, and he just nudged me down.
Rules.
And when I got to the bottom, I was like, that's my favorite slide I've ever done. Thank you, Dad. So I know that Lustful in London probably thinks, I just assuming he talks like this. I'm the dad of the office. You're not your management. These people aren't your friends.
Right.
You can't think of them that way. They
Quit
are not
sitting on their
your
desks. Dick
business.
height. Dick eye level. Quit doing that.
And that's really the long and the thick of it is as management, these sorts of things are not your concern.
I mean, the only thing that I could see where it brings management in is how deep is this longing? How distracted are, I mean, these are two highly skilled professionals. You can't just swap in and out someone else willy-nilly. I gotta think this is some major outside talking, longing. Maybe fire her. Get her out of there.
Well, it's
Take a personal phone call.
like all things, whether it's, I'm very against employers drug testing their employees. If they're using drugs,
No love testing your employee. I see where you're going with this.
if you're doing
right.
a good job at work, then it's none of your boss's business what you're doing with your personal time. You judge based on performance, and if this employee's performance is good, that also might be a reason not to upturn anything, because this might
Be the drive. This might be the reason she's good. She's
Yeah.
an edger. Doesn't actually want to take the plunge like your dad made you all those years ago.
Exactly.
She just wants to goon and look at him from far away. Oh, Clint, your name sounds like Clit. All right, what's the next letter?
Well, I could speak to Laura, I would say.
Can't.
Okay, well, for anyone out there who secretly longs for an employee, if you're unencumbered, if they're not in a relationship, just go for it and see what happens. Like, you only live once.
Unless you really like your job and you don't want Buffalo Wild Wings to be weird. Yes.
One more note for just directing Lustful in London here. It makes me wonder, what's going on in your life, bud? Like, why are you so focused on?
I was thinking the same thing. What's going on?
Some sort of vicarious situation of just do it. Just do it. Just live recklessly. I want someone else in the office to be bad, so maybe I can be bad. I don't know. Some of us have assistants who don't keep their legs shut in awkward ass skirts. You know what I mean?
The advice again is work on you, Lustful. Work on yourself.
Work on you.
Yes.
I'm worried all of our answers are going to end in maybe therapy.
Well, not everybody can afford therapy, but he's in London where they have socialized medicine, so it's right there for you.
Okay, because I was going to say maybe it's England, so move.
What?
Everyone seems crazy in England. We keep getting a lot of letters from England. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I think this
Let's
one
see
is
if my
also
theory
from...
is going to hold up.
All right, from the title is Help, my colleague at work is being a blimey bully, he is.
Oh, isn't it? Okay, that's definitely
All right.
English.
Quote, I recently took over as prime minister of one of the world's most powerful nuclear-armed nation states. I won't say which one.
Ay, ay, ay.
I was excited to get to work on strengthening our economy, building a safer world for our children, and privatizing as many of our nation's storied industries as possible. Everything was going great
That sounds good.
until one day at work, the leader of another nation showed up and was not such a pleasant fellow. Without giving anything away, this president, we'll call him Bill, came into my office making all sorts of demands. He asked me to commit 45,000 troops for his war in the Middle East. I'd have been happy to give him twice as many, so I eagerly committed my country's armed forces to his service. The issue is he was quite rude to one of my staffers, calling her Chubby.
Oh,
Now, everyone in the office calls her Chubby, and all sorts of other fun names like Fatso and Miss Piggy. But we don't say it to her face. To make matters worse, he made an unwanted advance on her that, as I write this, the year 2003, strikes me as quite unprofessional, and I imagine people in the future will have an even bigger problem with it.
Oh, my.
I'm very conflicted about what to do. I don't want to do anything that could jeopardize the special relationship between our two great nations, but I find it hard to forget the kind of crass and boorish behavior I saw from this world leader. How should I deal with this situation? Signed, Distressed on Downing Street.
Oh, I can't blare it. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Bear it.
First of all, it's an honor to have a prime minister right into our show.
It really is.
It's
a testament to the respect we garner out there.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Not the fact that he may need a career change. That's
right. Or the fact that they don't give people in England a lot to do.
We don't know that he's in England. He wouldn't say, even though he said distressed on Downing Street.
That could be anywhere. There's a Downing Street in Milwaukee.
Yeah, of course.
Lies.
Prime Minister of Wisconsin.
Yes.
All right. What do we make of this situation? So he's taken over as prime minister, and another world leader comes in and
we'll call him Bill.
And is kind of rude, kind of mean to him.
But they're getting along otherwise.
And they want the same things, it seems like.
But they want the same things, Matt. I think what I'm hearing is he might have some feelings for this chubby lady.
Well, okay. So you are a well-respected world leader. I don't think it's appropriate to be calling your employees chubby.
No.
Talking about them like that.
Or he seems distracted by an odd thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, diplomacy, it's an art. I think of it as an art. Do you guys, is diplomacy an art?
I'd say so. And I'd say you got to crack some eggs to make an omelet.
I think you have to look to the greats. Look to Otto von Bismarck, of the great Prussian diplomat of the 19th century.
I'm looking at him.
I think you will find a lot of wisdom. And what we're going to find is, it's incentives. It's what do we all want and how do we take steps to get what we want?
Okay, so what's more important, that two great nations are aligned or that you stand by this one employee? That's what we're deciding between.
Is that what we're deciding? Okay.
It feels like it, right? Like, I mean, all things are good except for he was rude to one person.
I mean, it seems like, yeah. Is this the kind of person can you take it? He's a colleague, he's an equal.
Sure. He's going to be back coming back downtown to Downing.
It's like with the lady who was getting filmed creepily. You're going to have a conversation, unfortunately. Yes. You're going to have to sit down, get on the same page.
Yeah. I know it's cliche, but conversation is key, especially if you are this world leader and you have this Bill fella who's equal to you. What's stopping you from having a conversation, I don't know, off the record, so to speak, if that's possible? I can't say I've been in that position before, but it wouldn't hurt to approach it. It wouldn't hurt to approach it delicately. Just let him know his feelings on the matter, and try to work it out from there, because it seems like it is really bugging.
Let me bounce something off you. What about a tit for tit? What if this Bill were to bring someone along, maybe next time he visits? That way, in case there's any collateral damage across the pond, Prime Minister here can just, get right in there. Get on some American soil, so to speak.
What are you suggesting? Did he harass one of the other guys? Okay.
Yes, diplomacy.
I'm crazy.
It's a slippery slope. That's
an option. He can slip on those slopes if he wants. There's all kinds of things he could do.
It's an option. Jay is right. It's an option.
That's a direction we can go.
No bad ideas.
We're just spitballing here, people.
But I think
true.
I think you don't want to be in the position. I naturally am conflict averse, and it's a thing I have to work on, because you don't want a situation to happen where you suppress something you're feeling, and then a long time later it comes out, and the person's like, "Why didn't you ever tell me about that?" And then you look like an idiot.
And her name's Laci, and you're married to her, and it was yesterday. You don't want that.
The point is, if this is a partnership of equals, he will respect you if you go in there. If
he's a worthwhile equal, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. If he's the partner you think he is, he should be able to withstand this stern conversation. Her num-nums or my num-nums, hands off her yabos. Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
Moving on. And this is our final letter.
Oh, my. This went by fast.
Help. My sexual partner interrupted intercourse to take a phone call. At an office Christmas party, a colleague and I really hit it off. Things were going great when we went back to her place. I won't get into the details, but suffice it to say, I was about to go down to Abby, if you catch my drift, when she broke away to take a call on her mobile phone. This was unexpected, but I dismissed it as a mild hiccup. She is an exceptionally talented and beautiful woman who I have long admired. I could wait the brief interval it took for her to complete her business on the phone so she could give me her undivided attention.
Get down to business.
But a mere 25 seconds later, we were interrupted by another call on her mobile.
No, business, Mom.
She leapt off the bed to accept the call and did several very rude go away gestures. Her message to me was clear. You are no longer welcome here.
I'm so sorry that I'm interrupting your long-winded fucking letter for me to just give some little noises.
This is not my letter. This is from
I know, but that person, I'm adding ambiance.
Yes, no, setting. I know. You're relating.
Yes. So I don't need your freaking bull exhale. I don't need it. Anyway, what did the letter say?
I went home confused and despondent. Was it something I said? Did I smell funny? Was I not performing adequately? I'm really desperate for answers here. Help me.
I know what it is. Does he have a mobile phone? He could call her, keep the line busy, talk her through the whole thing while they're doing it.
That's a nice little life hack. Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
He's
addicted to the phone.
I think you're treating the symptoms, not the problem. Right. As with all of these things, unfortunately, it is going to come down to you're going to have a conversation.
She's having too many. Taking up the line.
That's a good point.
Yellow.
If you can get her attention.
He's Downton Abbey and she's yellow. Talk to me. Shoot. She's too businessy. He needs himself a nice traditional woman in the kitchen. No phone, no phones, no screens.
Well, he did say though the things that he is attracted to about her are her, her professional bona fides.
Right.
I think that it's not so much that he wants a trad wife. I think that he wants her the way she is, but he would just like a little bit more of her attention. And as such, you're just going to have to be honest and upfront about what you need and try to address why does she feel so distracted? What can we do to?
Think there's any chance that he walked out of this room without her knowing what it is he wanted and what went wrong? It sounds like she's got some stuff to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Well, the only way you can deal with that is if you hear it from him or from her.
Yeah. I think trying to look at the bigger picture here, this may have just been a one-off thing. I don't know if this has to be looked at by like a case-by-case situation, if this was like the first time they were getting it on and she kept having these distractions, was it a timely matter? Did she have like DoorDash on the way or like a sensitive package being delivered that she had to? Yeah, you don't know. Was it a business matter? She is a businesswoman. Is it a family matter? We all have family matters. But like Matt said, it won't hurt to have a conversation at a later time. Maybe it was just bad in the moment, situational thing going on for her.
The time it took him to write this letter, and he works with this lady, could have just walked over to the desk.
That's really our advice.
Take her to coffee.
To the writer. Instead of writing to us, write an email to her.
Maybe it's a room with metal walls and metal ceiling. Pro tip. Cannot get cellular service in those rooms. I just learned this from watching Heretics. So, spoiler. Take away her phone.
If she
10 minutes, ask for 10 minutes.
If she is perpetually distracted like this, it's not a great sign that she has the self-motivation to live in the moment, and that feels like something she's going to have to deal with. You can't force her to deal with those things. All you can deal with is the way you react to that. So if this is an important relationship for you to nurture, you're going to have to work on how you react to that. Maybe don't immediately leave confused. Maybe wait until she's finished with her phone call and have a conversation.
Because certainly she sleeps at night, right? So there's long stretches where she's not on the phone at all. That's when you have sex. Or you learn how to have sex in 10-second intervals. There's solutions here. You just got to be looking for them.
Everything in life is about breaking it up into manageable chunks.
There you go.
You can accomplish anything if you do a lot of a little thing.
Amazing. That was amazing.
Nicely put.
I'm transported.
All right. Well, I think we really helped some people. I think we make a good team.
I think so.
All right. So unrelated to all of that, we all watched the movie Love Actually recently.
Oh yeah,
Christmas classic. Jay, what's your history with this movie? This is a beloved movie by so many people.
When did you first see it?
Well,
Ooh.
I've heard of it for quite a long time, and I will say prior to me watching it, the only thing I ever heard from people who claim to have loved it, when I try to get information out of them, like, oh, what do you love about it? Like, what makes it a Christmas classic? I always hear the same thing. Oh, there's so many recognizable faces in there. I was like, oh, okay,
Get a
what about the
magazine.
story?
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Get a magazine.
Get the
what
internet.
about anything else? Yeah. There's so many great actors and actresses in there. Oh,
But
you
are they doing
recognize
a
so many people?
great job
I'm like, okay.
in that movie?
So yeah. And I always say, like, a star-studded cast does not equal a great movie. If anything, sure, the performances will be good, but that's not always the case either with star-studded cast.
That's right, because the writing also needs to be good, and then like giving them room to do what it is that they do. Some people, it's about the mannerisms. It's about the ability to stretch out, and
I think
so many good actors in this movie that were given nothing to do.
no,
Yeah.
if you, because there's so many great actors in this movie who I think are bad in this movie. Now, when an actor gives a bad performance, there's always the most logical person to blame, which is
The actor,
the director.
their children.
The director. And I think this movie is one of the worst directed movies I have ever seen. I don't want to be hyperbolic. I just think Richard Curtis, who this was his directorial debut, he was a screenwriter until then, just had no idea what he was doing. And when you see legend after legend just giving these baffling performances, being unable to deliver comedy lines, like people like Emma Thompson, you're like, I've seen you give 20 performances that are amazing, and you're just floundering on screen. It's like you were not directed by somebody who knows how to direct actors, doesn't know how to like block shots.
I feel like there was a lot left on the cutting room floor. I feel like maybe there were longer stories to these stories, and but the arcs are missing. I feel like I'm being biohacked into having an emotional connection to each of these storylines, where the middle is missing. I've got the fumbly, weird, awkward start. I've got no like fulfilling journey of earned love and infatuation and risk and reward and whatever the fuck happens in Act 2. And then I've got the sappy, every kind of cliche, run to the airport, run to the person's house, ask for a hand in marriage, put a ring on a reindeer. I don't fucking know, but it's like they did everything they could to like pull at each heartstring right at the end. Set to music, and it's Christmas, and it just feels like cheating.
Yeah, I almost wonder, because this is a dozen stories where you get a setup, you get an ending, often a not like an ending that wouldn't be satisfying even in a good movie.
Exactly.
But it feels like it's like your parents are reading you a story and they see you're going to sleep, so they just kind of skip to the end.
And they try to hide the bad endings in between the good ones. It's not like they give you two bad ones in a row. They sneak the shit ones. Fucking like, I only know their fake names now, but Carl and what's her name?
Laura Linney. I don't.
Whatever. I mean, their shit just fizzles out. Oh, Jay, I wanted to know. I had this read on Laura Linney's character and who she said was her brother. I feel like the movie was hinting that was her husband, and he. Yeah, there's no reason for me to but it just seems more romantic. Everything's honey, baby, my love, sweetheart. I mean, I have pet names for my brother, but they're not those.
So you said this to me, and I was like, I didn't pick up on that at all. That would be a very interesting thing to be going on in a movie that is very much not interesting. And like that is a sort of very deep and really dark problem that this movie wouldn't be seem interested in addressing.
Here's why I'm saying it though. There's not any stories about about platonic love in this movie. That's not what this movie seems to be about.
With Bill Nighy and his manager.
That was supposed to be a gay romance. You know that's just like a toothless fucking... That was written to be an actual love thing that did... Anyway.
I think the message at the end of the movie is there's all kinds of different love, including friendship love.
My point is, so the Carl, he's a disappointment. He's pissy and whatever, and you don't know how that he's not the man of her dreams, because the man of her dreams would have figured out this situation. But what they do show you are a couple more scenes of her with the person who we watch, who's in the facility, they have a very rough first time you see them. But then I think there's a montage of them like having a nice Christmas together and like
putting the scarf on him.
Yes, being sweet. So I think it's like, well, this isn't the marriage you thought you were going to have, but it is the one you're still in. And you do still feel responsible to this man, and he's not dead. So if my guess is right, I think they are trying to show us like, there's a reason why she hasn't tried to jump into the Carl thing. It was forced upon her, and that's probably because she's married. I'm right.
You're wrong when you shout "I'm right."
That's not how that works.
There's nothing in the movie to support this. This is
everything I just said.
No, but there's no actual things that happen in the movie to support that. There's everything to support that it's not happening. And she talks about their parents, and now their parents are dead and they're over here. Her room is like a little girl's room. She's in Arrested Development. Her parents died and she had to take over as this caregiver.
She's lying.
Okay. But what sucks about this story, and this was the one that annoyed me the most before the most recent time. Now I have a little more sympathy for it, but I'm like, this is such a just missed opportunity by not giving this story the time to breathe, to really understand this person. The fact that we can even have this question is what sucks about this.
And what pisses me off is that we saw her boobs, her saggy side boob. She's a beautiful woman, odd chest, and I'm just saying they didn't have to get this actress naked just to not even give us a fulfilling fucking story or inspection of her character. I think it's rude.
How many times has Laura Linney done nudity?
That's right. Like, it was needless. They didn't. The only other person that gets nude, and this includes Mia, the fucking crazy sexualized assistant to the boss, is the woman whose job it is to be naked, she's the joke.
I disagree that there doesn't have to be a need for nudity. Nudity is a part of life. It can be a part of film. You don't have to have.
But it's not like Laura Linney signed up and was like, "Oh, please, can we have my tits out?" I mean, she deserved to have a fuller whatever. I'm just saying, she's like a real actress. This wasn't her first movie. Mm-hmm. It seems exploitative.
All industries have exploitation, and yes, there is a history of actresses being exploited.
I didn't see any side dick from fucking Alan Rickman.
Yes, I know. There needs to be more dicks in movies.
I love a side dick.
I agree.
Sideball. Yeah, thank you.
But without any evidence that she or anybody was exploited, I wouldn't just jump to she was exploited.
Okay, so sorry I jumped. I'm just saying they didn't give her much to do. She's just a fucking sniveling little schoolgirl who's always on the phone, and there's her tit.
Yeah, it just makes her character seem like an idiot. Like, I have a big crush and I can't do anything about it.
But here's my tits. It's rude.
A lot of the characters across the board are just flat.
Yes.
As far as the connections go, their personalities, I mean, it's that's what the movie is to me. It's a lot of uninteresting, unentertaining stories that I'm not connected to, with a lot of characters, some that we see a lot more focus on that we don't really care for. Like, my biggest issue was is his name, I think, Connor or Colin.
Oh yeah, Connor, the one that's obsessed with getting laid.
Wait, no, the one who goes to America.
The one who goes to America.
Yes, goes to Milwaukee specifically, which I have a whole other gripe about that. But it's like, why did he get as much screen time as he did?
What
like,
was
I
the
hated
point?
him the second he was on screen, and he got an additional 15-20 minutes of screen time about his story. I don't.
And what was the love story there that even the most perverted volume shooting to try to stick it in anything that'll take it, guys, they can find love too. Lots and lots and lots of women will have sex with him at one time, and and also the movie sets it up like he's going to America. Like, bye, you're gone. Not that he's going and coming back. And also the love interest of the little boy, Joanna or whatever, he's heartbroken. She's going back to America. Why the fuck does she come back at the end of the movie? What is this?
And that's why I say this movie's directed by somebody who doesn't know how to direct a movie, because these basic understandings you have about the people and their relationship to the world and each other, you don't understand.
Right.
Like, a competent director could make you understand, like, Like when Colin Firth goes to his little cabin, you have no idea that's in France.
And you have no idea that why does he have a cabin? Why is he a writer? Why does he need a maid? Why does he need a maid? I kept yelling, like, you're one guy. You need a daily maid? How much? It doesn't make any sense. And yet, that's my favorite pairing besides Liam Neeson and the little boy. They have some sweet moments. But Colin Firth and like how they did, and I think it's because they're not speaking the same language that makes it good. And you know, of course, the diving in the pond thing, and then I don't know. Matt was saying if that storyline had more breathing room, it's got the most legs, and I agree. It's the more unique one.
I can see that. Yeah, there were some like promising moments there. Like when they are talking in their own languages, but they're like saying the same thing. Yeah. And then they do that like another time. I was like, okay, we already got this point across.
Right. They do it so many times.
Yeah.
But it has the one good joke from that sequence that I like, where she says, you could give me 50% of the profits. And he's like, I could give you 5% of the profits.
Right.
That's a good joke that only works because you've established this annoying recurring bit. But you have these two actors speaking different languages, but connecting to each other just by looking at each other and gesturing and stuff. And I think that's
nonverbal love is always going to move me. Sorry.
Richard Curtis said that that two of these stories, the Colin Firth story and the Hugh Grant story, were intended to be their own movies. And instead ended up in this movie. And you can tell those are the two that he cares the most about and have the most
interesting
things going on in them. And the rest is just like, got an idea while walking the dog one day. What if two stand-in actors, I don't know, wanted to date?
A bunch of fillers.
And the way that he connects them, like the most egregious thing is the fucking wedding in the middle of the day at the same time as you would have a wake. No one would have a wedding during the day. And then the caterer is like having his downtime outside of the catering tent with the director of the movie who then in the next scene is working on the movie. What are you doing? And it was nice if they all converge at the children's play or all converge at the airport. If you wanted them to all converge, do it in a natural way. Me just waiting for the Where's Waldo of the scene of, I know him. I know. Yeah, it's stupid. It's distracting. And I think that the director thinks it's clever.
Yeah. Exactly what I was going to say is like he had all of these stories, and then I wonder if he was like looking at them like, what if these two have lunch one day? Right. That's where we're going to connect his
sister?
Liam Neeson could be friends with Emma Thompson. Yes, of course.
No way. You're telling me the prime minister's her brother? Give me a break.
Okay, do you have a favorite performance or favorite storyline in the movie?
Colin Firth was mine.
It's so brief, but I like the two actors, the adult actors, because that was like the most filler because we don't ever dive into their backstory. I think not even a little bit, when they're talking, sure, but that was the one that I was the most interested in because it comes from like, again, the theme of the movie, like you can find love in all sorts of places, and this is like
actually
the craziest. So I like
that they are so withdrawn and sort of conservative in their demeanors, even though professionally, if they have to get naked and pretend to do very graphic sex, they'll do that. And I like that because I like, this is a job. Everything is a job, and these are professionals. And Laci's like, how is he not getting a boner? And I was like, because he's a pro. Or he is, or he just is. And she's like, I know that that's part of the job. Either way, I like it. Good job, guys.
Or it's all softcore, so they don't actually do stuff.
Well, this movie, which the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, they're porn? Why would a porno have stand-ins?
Right,
I was like, no. This is supposed to be like a prestige-y, like erotic, historical epic.
They're just trying to light sex scenes. But they want to have the real actors having the briefest amount of time on stage actually doing the thing that is going to be uncomfortable for them doing. So they do all this pre-work.
Yeah. And it's just that this movie's such a mess that it's like, it's even taking down the Oscar bait prestige movies.
This is the biggest tell that this is a brand new director, because it's like this fucking guy was on set and saw a thing that he thought was fun. He's like, wait till the rest of the world hears this. This exists. Like, because this is not a profession most people know exists. this. It's just like the way people like to make craft services jokes when they're in the industry. It's like, I guess now you know that I've been on a movie set. Food
But there's such
staff.
boring observations. Like, isn't it crazy that people have to be naked here? What are they?
I didn't know it was a job till I saw this movie, but it's like, again, it's like just some young dude, first time making a movie. The guys will get a load of that. They'll get it.
If I think I watched Bridget Jones's Diary, which he wrote. I watched that for the first time last week, and I've seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral in Notting Hill. I think all of them. He as a writer, I think, is pretty good at like non-ideal romances that where it's like Hugh Grant in Bridget Jones's Diary is Renee Zellweger's boss, and he even in 2001, where people would say he's sexually harassing her, and now 20 years later, you're like, this is so inappropriate, and yet even now watching the movie, you're like, yeah, but he's really hot, and like she's into it, and like. I don't know.
He is never not charming. Have you seen Heretic yet? The movie. He charmed my pants off. I just love every little.
So the point is with that movie, it's like, can you form romances out of these non-perfect situations, or even like these situations that are wrong or inappropriate? And that would be right material for a movie. And it seems like there's a bunch of times where this movie is going to go in that direction, but it has nothing to say about any of it.
And he's not making a stance on anything.
No.
He's not making a political stance. He's not showing you any, except for having a black guy with a white woman.
You're referring to Keira Knightley? That relationship?
Yeah.
Because then she still like kisses
Exactly.
Andrew Lincoln's character. And yeah, one thing that really stood out to me upon rewatch is how it did not age well. And this movie was just made in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime there's like, for Andrew Lincoln's character, I'm forgetting his name, Mark or something.
I think it's Mark.
The fucking poster guy.
The baiting into the fact that he could be gay.
Yes.
Like, it's not just like a one-off comment. There's the woman who approaches him at the reception and is like, do you love him?
You love him.
He's like, oh, no. He gets all defensive. Even before that, when they're standing at the altar, the groom-to-be says, I did appreciate the bachelor party. I just wish that you got female strippers or female hookers instead of male ones.
Right.
Like, there's that. He's working at the art facility.
That was just good, clean fun in 2003.
Yeah, but Jay's right. There's 3 times where it is hinted at that guy is gay.
Oh, so that it's queer baiting?
Yes.
You think?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
gotcha,
what I'm getting at.
The other time is in the art gallery where the schoolgirls are laughing at the men's butts, and he goes, "That's art."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 3 times. Like.
No, so this movie is just utterly without a spine. That maybe in the script stage it was he was in love with his friend or he's bisexual or something, and then it's like no, right. Sand off all those unpleasant edges. And
that is where I get to from, because like probably one of the most enjoyable characters is the rock star, because he's so ridiculous. He gives no fucks. But then his little turn around with how he's the love of his life as his manager, that could be sweet if it didn't sound like it were written for someone professing their actual love. It does not sound like platonic love. It's way over the top. And then the way that they concluded is, now let's go get shit-faced and watch porn. That's gay too. Yeah. I mean, that's not like a super straight thing to say.
I think it was a super straight thing for British men above a certain
and I am saying that I think this is another thing that could have been interesting.
I totally agree with you. The only thing is, like, even if he was professing his romantic love for his manager, we still need to see like one scene where you like realize like, oh, me bloody manager's who I love. You need something like that. Instead, he goes off to the Elton John party, has an off-screen epiphany, and then comes back. And he's like, hey, fatty, I love how fat you are.
Ooh, let's put your fat into my fat and let's rub around.
This song, I was doing some research into the song. Christmas is all around me. This song was originally released by the Trogs in the 1960s, a British invasion band best known for Wild Thing. I just have a few alts for British invasion songs that they could Christmasify. Okay, here they are. Okay. I can't get no Christmas presents. Okay, number 2 is talking about my Santa's reindeer. All right, and third, my third is girl, you leave some cookies out. You leave some cookies on Christmas night. All right, so those are just my 3 alts that they could have gone with.
Oh my God, I'm adding those to my Christmas playlist.
I'm writing the rest of that song and you can't stop
I'm making
me.
them myself.
Okay. Well, I mean, it would have been interesting if they went with any of those.
Any of those.
4 Weddings and a Funeral, which I watched last week, that song is in that movie as well. Not the real version, not the Christmas version.
The Christmas version is in that movie.
No, the real version, not the Christmas
It's not
version.
even a good song.
I feel
Oh
it
my
in
God.
my
That
fingers.
doesn't mean I want you to sing it to me.
I thought I could convince you it
No.
is. The politics of the movie. I know it's not a political movie, but the anti-politics of this movie drive me
I mean, you don't put
incredibly
a person,
insane.
you don't put a person, like, especially at that time, who was married to Angelina Jolie, Billy Bob Thornton, in that role, if you're not trying to say something. And then they say nothing.
Yeah, well, what they're saying
Is
is
Letcher.
they had this man, this handsome young Prime Minister Tony Blair, who then went and did a bloody betrayal of the country by being best friends with George Bush and sending 45,000 British troops to Iraq and burning the world down. And I think played
Rude.
an underrated role in legitimizing the war in Iraq. So the British people were like, wouldn't it be nice if we got a new prime minister who also was handsome but stood up to those bloody Americans,
Because he didn't want that American to get his snatch.
but stands up by saying, oh, I don't think we'll be bullied.
I don't think I like that at all. I disagree.
And people are going fucking nuts. They're like, oh my
Yeah.
God,
He
he
said
did it.
no.
He didn't do anything.
I wonder if that man tried
Yeah.
to take his snatch.
Still has more specificity than Alex Garland's Civil War, though.
Shut the fuck. That movie is perfect.
Lacey got so mad at
Such
me
an
last.
asshole. That movie is perfect. Civil War is perfect.
That movie is
wanna
terrible.
You want to kicked off this goddamn podcast, Santa? I'm looking at you. Colada, I'm looking at you.
That's for another day.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah. You'll live another day then.
Thank you.
Lacey, did you say who your favorite is? It's hard.
Colin Firth
Yeah, I guess that would be
and
my-
Liam Neeson. Good, just because there are a couple of well-observed interactions with a kid. They're not overly, what's the word, saccharine.
Yeah.
He curses just enough. He's real with the kid enough. As soon as they stop mourning the mom, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Because you're not crying just because your mom's dead, are you? It's like, get past this.
Oh, what's trouble in your
Get
there,
past
Sal?
this.
I like that they allow Liam Neeson to be like a regular guy. He's not a super spy or anything.
Well, but then he ends it with fucking dating Claudia Schiffer.
Claudia Schiffer. Yeah.
Such a 2003
and
joke.
I like that the kid, now having watched the movie 3 times in 3 weeks, I'm like, that kid's really playing drums. The first time I was like,
Yeah.
it looks like he's really doing it because it's a very basic
Matt
beat.
is obsessed with some.
Then I watched it again. I was like,
musicians,
he is
actually.
definitely, I'm looking this up. And yes, this kid learned to play the drums for this song. And I was like, good salute to you, sir.
I hope you're in
Yeah,
Game of
good
Thrones
on him.
later.
Yeah.
How old was he?
He did
during
not
this
look
decade?
11.
10 or 11. Yeah.
No, bitch, look it
Okay.
up. He was not 11.
He's got such a baby face. Like he looks.
He's
so
got one of
young.
those faces like Haley Joel Osment where you know when he grows up, it's going to
Right.
work out really good or really fucking bad. That's one of
Have
those
you seen
faces.
recent pictures of him? He just looks like stretched out. You know, just taller.
Just stretched- it's
He
just
still
like silly
has that
putty.
face.
Yeah. Cause he was on the Queen's Gambit. And I mean, he's still acting and stuff. I don't remember his
Oh.
name.
His nostril.
Did like the Liam Neeson plot as well. That's up there for one of my favorites.
After the mourning of the wife, because I feel like that was too light and too heavy at the same
Yeah.
time. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Like-
deal with this heavy subject. If you're going to treat it so light, I don't want to do it. Just go past it.
Right. Like he needed a distraction from that, but at the same time, his distraction was very fulfilling because he's
Yeah.
connecting with his stepson.
That's
so-
and it really like kind of hurt my heart when he started to think about what is a stepdad forced to really think about, like, how close am I to this kid? I was coasting a lot on my wife being this, and I'm like the secondary thing, and now I'm the. Yeah, I mean that's a really real thing. So that he gave him something he could sink his teeth into. That's why I like that story.
Yes, it's like, okay, yes, this I can help with. And he's probably not giving him the best advice.
Doesn't
he's
matter.
totally indulging his delusions.
Oh, that's not true. He was fighting back against you don't play an instrument, sir. You know, I mean, he's like, oh, you're fucked. You know, like he was being real with him.
Yeah.
But still, like encouraging him every time he got reinvigorated and reanimated about it.
I guess it's my favorite storyline. It's not like there's anything remarkable about it at all. It's just like it's nice. It's a nice, pleasant.
Yeah.
Thomas Brody Sangster is the actor's name, and he was 12 years old at the time.
Told you he wasn't 11.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of the dialogue in the Liam Neeson one with his son was good. There was one moment though, like you said, everything was nice and like pretty playful, you know, and then he just had one line that kind of threw me off. I forgot what the setup was, but the kid says like something about like, oh, how much did you love my mom? And he's like talking about it like very sweetly. And then he's like, yeah, and we had sex in every single room, including yours.
No,
After he said that, I was just like, all right.
He's talking about Claudia Schiffer.
He's joking.
He's joking about if Claudia Schiffer shows up, that he'll need to get out immediately because he's got to have sex in every single room in the house. So it's not that they had the sex; he's that he will have.
Okay. It would be kind of.
It would be pretty fucked up. Like, yeah, me and your mom boned so hard in your bed.
You know your mother who died, Samu. I fucked her rotten.
Okay.
Fucked her rotten.
Yeah.
Ew! I really spoiled.
But still. Just to say that, I think to a 10-year-old or however old he was, I was like, oh wow, his mom like just recently passed away.
Her sex juices are still in that bed.
Just another example of how bad this movie is at getting you, the audience, to understand basic things. Is Alan Rickman? You never understand if he had sex with his psychopath assistant.
Never know.
And you don't have any reason for Emma Thompson to have put together that he did. It's just that she didn't get the present that she was expecting from him. And it's like...
But she did know he bought it.
Yes, but they're still going to open more presents the next day. It's just these basic like logistics things that like, if you're not getting these right, how can the audience... But I think that this is one of those movies...
Unboxing Day is the day before Christmas in England.
Boxing Day is the day after Christmas in England.
I'm making shit up.
Unboxing Day is do you think that people love this movie though because they watch it over and over again and inject their own interpretation, fill in the details in their head about all the stuff that's missing, and that's why they feel so attached to it?
I had a totally different movie than you guys. I chose my own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people watch this and they go like, oh my God, it's so real. Like,
who would think that?
All you have to do is put it in England. I want to know how English people feel about this movie. I guarantee you a lot of fucking work is being done by the fact that it's in England and Americans are stupid. That's how they do it there.
Okay. Maybe.
I mean, I still have the same gripe. I've seen people post like their top 10 favorite Christmas movies. And when they have Love Actually, it says right there, the first thing I was telling you guys about earlier, it says, oh, there's so many famous people in here. There's so many well-known faces. It's like, that's it. That's all that classifies it as a great Christmas classic. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to judge, people can enjoy what they enjoy, but I don't enjoy it. So that is my opinion.
I also feel with the cheating, the short-circuiting our hearts to give a shit is basing this around Christmas. I don't think it needed to be. That song could have been any kind of song to top the pops or whatever the fucking shit the Brits do. That's not the right thing. I think people are sentimental about Christmas, about snow, about warm, about cozy sweaters and fires and shit. So I don't even see this movie as a Christmas movie at all. This movie doesn't feel Christmassy to me.
But Christmas is all around us.
And that's why they use the song over and over again to convince us that it's Christmas time.
No, it's a Christmas commercial, and it looks like a commercial.
Yeah.
This movie looks like shit on the basic like how to light a scene level. It really looks like you're watching a commercial for a car with a bow on it. And those commercials will give you the Christmas feeling, that special Christmas feeling, because you're just seeing the imagery on screen. You're like, oh, it makes me feel so good. That's why I'm wearing a Coca-Cola shirt. It makes you feel so good to see all the colors and the things, the symbols, It's just shorthand. And this movie is just, let me just bukkake Christmas imagery and relationships at you.
But that's what I say. It's a cheap, unlasting feeling. That's how I know it's doing something to our brains to trick us into feeling sentimental, because it is so, it's air. As soon as the movie's over, I haven't thought of one of those relationships. Nothing's going to stick with me. The fact that it was Christmas won't stick with me. But like, you give me Christmas Vacation or Home Alone or Elf or Scrooged or any of these movies that I consider Christmas classic, and they cannot exist without it being Christmas. Or I don't need to name another example. I already listed 3. But like, they feel like Christmas. Love Actually just happens to use Christmas.
That's a great way to put it. It is a thing in Christmas. You could remove Christmas and still have
all
this
of those
movie.
Stories.
Even the things they're saying about Christmas, they're like, Christmas is the time of year where you have to tell people what you really think. It is?
No, it's not. Right. And there's a nativity play, but all we're going to talk about is the lobsters and the octopus. I get that that's a joke, but you found a way to take the Christmas out of the nativity. You didn't say Jesus once. So it's like, and I'm an atheist, so what do I care? But like, even that, you totally made, it could have been any play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like the movie Valentine's Day. Don't they have the same kind of format? It's just a bunch of different stories going on at once, and they're connected.
That sounds
by a few
right.
People like you could take this and have it over any holiday or any day.
Oh my God. They did this same thing that they did for My Bloody Valentine. Like, slasher movies were just really popular, and they were more popular if you put them on a day. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
You write the script about a killer, and then the studio's like, can we connect this to a holiday?
Get right. So My Bloody Valentine's Day, Valentine is about Valentine's Day, but then they did it for this too. They picked a, like, these things just have wheels. If you get people to watch them every year because of who doesn't celebrate something with a movie? People who give a shit about Valentine's Day. No one celebrates Valentine's Day, and if they do it with sex and candy, not with the fucking V-Day movie. Mm-hmm. Don't season a movie. Then you make it not something you can watch all year round. Stupid.
None of it is, ensemble movies can be great. Movies without plots really can be great. Movies with
like a slice of life movie.
Yeah. It is all in the execution. You need a director who knows what they're doing and somebody who can direct comedy. This is supposed to be a comedy. And
Alan Rickman does not make me laugh. And he's funny.
So many of these people are funny.
Yeah.
I do have one question. Would you guys like to have seen more or less of Rowan Atkinson in here?
Which one's that?
Mr. Bean.
He was.
Mr. Bean.
He was the one who just kind of popped up a few times.
I know who
randomly.
Mr. Bean is. I just didn't know you had a different name. It's like Pee Wee Herman when I realized his name was Paul Rubens. I think he is used well when he is a lightly seized. I love his 2 parts in this movie. I think there's 2, right?
Yeah.
I love both of them because there's only 2 of them. I don't remember liking the Mr. Bean movie or movies, so.
And Richard Curtis co-created Mr. Bean with Rowan Atkinson. I believe there was an iteration of this movie where he was more heavily involved, and he's like a literal Christmas angel connecting everybody. And
okay, that makes it a better Christmas movie. That makes it a Christmas angel only has a little bit of time to spend with little couples here and there. Oh my God, that makes the movie better. Then it makes sense why we're only getting a little piece and a little piece. We're seeing it through the eyes of him, and he's giving a little narration. Now let me tell you what's been going on with Carl, and here's the backstory on and what they don't know, and let's see where they're doing. That is a better fucking Christmas movie.
Or even if it was like Richard Linklater Slacker, where you just spend time with one story, watch all of the scenes in order, and then it hands off to a different person, and you follow them. But you still need to be much better written and directed. I liked Rowan Atkinson in the scene with Alan Rickman, but I wasn't like, give me more. But I don't. What about you?
Very funny. I think it's funny.
I was gonna say instead of grasping at air, trying to make these connections like we were talking about before, I think if they just put that to rest and have Rowan Atkinson be the connection with everybody, it would have been better. But
It makes sense. And the title,
as far as that goes.
The title is stupid. They forced that title to work.
Well, it's just like the conception is there's all kinds of different love, and we'll see it all here, and none of it doesn't. We don't. This is not a fully realized idea.
Right.
We have to like work backwards to even understand that that's what you were doing. Right. And sorry, 2 years after 9/11, wedging that in here,
dude,
when the people of 9/11 were about to be burned alive, they were in love.
So just the biggest fucking horrible tragedy to even that brings airplanes to mind, that completely changes airport security. We can't go to the airport without realizing that 9/11 completely changed our lives. And you anchor this movie, you bookend it with an airport. That no, actually, all the love happens at an airport. All the sweetness. Remember airports? I'll bet fucking Delta sponsored this movie. Somebody's trying to get people to travel again.
We need to open these books.
I'm going to blow this wide open. There's no reason to give so much love to Heathrow fucking airport. Gives a shit. Go to a train station. Drive that into a building. You can't. Through one. That's all.
Parody.
America.
All right, closing final thoughts and star rating for Love Actually.
I think I gave it a 2.5.
2.5? You seemed like you liked it a lot less than 2.5.
How low do you think I go? I don't go low.
You could go to 0.
I don't do that. I like movies.
I think I got it at a 1.5.
Oh, he goes
Instead
low.
of Love Actually, it should have been called Bear With Me. I tell these stories.
Wait, let me see. I don't even know if I put it on Letterboxd.
I too, I'm on the same page with you. 1.5 stars for me. I still kind of have affection for how insane this movie is, how sloppy, how much of a failure it is. I can anticipate me watching it every year.
I gave it a 2. Look at me going low. Let me see. I say, this movie is gaming our sentimentality. Okay, I already said everything. 8 romantic stories in a row, even Christmas parts trying to hack our heartstrings. Look at me, drunk. Not right now, but then, definitely then, said exactly what I just said here. Continuous thoughts.
Do you want to just read it?
Connective tissue. I don't. That's why you should follow me on Letterboxd at Load-Bearing Laci to get all my hot tips. I get at least 2 likes per review.
Damn.
That's good. That's good on Letterboxd.
Is that good? I'm always impressed.
Better than me.
Shout out Queer Horror Dad. He likes all my stuff. I love that about him.
Jay, can you tell everybody listening and watching where they can find you and what you're all about?
What's your contingency plan for when TikTok goes down?
Well, here's the deal.
It's
not going down. I don't know. We'll see.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I am on TikTok right now. That's my main posting page at Cinema Coconut. I like to talk about all things film. I do, some trivia like, oh, did you know that John Carpenter directed these movies? And I also do like movie reviews. I also like to do games and interactive things with people, which is really fun. You can also find me on YouTube at Cinema Coconut as well. That is a fresher page. I'm starting to like alleviate away from TikTok and post some things on there more frequently. And I am also on Letterboxd at J, the letter J _ koala. You can find me there.
That's where the koala comes from, because your name is so close to that.
That's right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So just those 3 platforms, but
go to Blue Sky, my guy. Go to Blue Sky. Blue Sky. Blue Sky.
That's the next one. I feel like I have to
get over there, man.
I've been hearing a lot about that. Yeah.
We will link to all of that in the description, and I recommend Cinema Coconut personally. He's a very funny and smart man.
Yes.
And you should pay attention.
Thank you.
He does what he says he's going to do. He's very reliable. And if your freaking technical stuff goes crashing down all around you, this man will vamp for 20 plus minutes.
But we're not talking about that.
Just the sweetest boy. Just talking sports, talking movies, entertaining the troops. Oh, it was such a bad night.
All right, we won't
Matt
do
was so upset.
Okay. We don't want to talk about it.
He was so upset.
No, this was a great night, though. This was a great time.
Yay.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you for being with us.
Doing it twice. So it's so nice we did it twice.
No, we didn't.
We did it 1.5.
All right. Once.
So long. Happy holidays, folks.
Happy holidays.
Okay, I love you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Check us out on our Patreon coming January 1. Boom.
3, 4. everybody. LeBaron Keems, LeBaron